Hey guys, yes, I am doing great. Thank you for asking. Oh, I am in pajamas. I'm so glad you've noticed. Oh, they do make me look adorable. I'm so glad that you notice these things all the time. And you might be wondering, Noah, are you sitting on the floor? Yes, I am. And I'm surrounded by pillows and cuddly things, except for Elizabeth, because she's in Connecticut. Thanks for reminding me that, audience. I really appreciate you depressing me like this. I can always count on you guys. Anyway, this is Friday, so it's just going to be a rant video. Nobody's going to watch it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the things I got on vacation, because I tend to save up money and then blow it all on vacation. And I also wanted to talk about why I've been doing clickbait thumbnails, and then do a little life update at the very end. So anyway, on to some of the stuff I got in New Orleans. I pronounce it that way, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So, in New Orleans, I got this cool mask. I like it a bunch. I think it's super neat. Super cool, actually. It's kind of fragile, which is why I don't wear it in videos. But it's already broke. Once Elizabeth had to fix it, and then I might have broke it again because I'm rough with my stuff. So I need to fix it before Halloween, because this is going to be part of my Halloween costume. And I'll be talking about that once it gets closer to the end of September and the beginning of October. Then I got this. It's a cool little print. I like it a lot. I just thought it looked cute, but also dark at the same time. And it's by Michelle something, starts with a P. I'm not sure. Michelle, if you're watching this, contact me and tell me your last name, because I think this is super cool. And I need to get a little frame for it, so that way it doesn't fall apart on me. And I don't like to touch this with my fingers, so yeah. But I got it, and supporting local artists and all of that. And speaking of art, I went to the Museum of Death, as you guys know, and I got some posters. The Museum of Death is really grim, but Elizabeth and I are kind of fascinated with the macabre, so I got some cool stuff. I really like this poster. It's world famous Museum of Death. It looks kind of like a carnival poster, which is a big reason why I like it. And then I got this one, a toast to your coffin. May it be built from the wood of 100-year-old oak tree, that which shall be planted tomorrow. Basically, may you live 100 years. And I thought it was like a nice positive thing, while also looking still really grim. And then, this one, I just got it because it is reminiscent of like Edgar Allan Poe, and it says, "Remember me as you pass by, as you are now, so once blah 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 blah." I'm not actually going to read the whole thing because it's in loopy script and I haven't taken the time reading it. So that was cool. That's really cool. I liked it. And then, yeah, as you guys know, I got this shirt, Museum of Death. I just think it looks really metal, and I liked it a lot. It's super cool. And I also got another shirt that I don't wear in public, and I don't wear it on videos either. Because, as I've said, the Museum of Death is a little more macabre. You kind of have to have a dark sense of humor to enjoy some of the stuff. And so I don't really wear this out because, for good reason. It's the Zodiac Killer, stylized as the Magician from the tarot cards, and has the stuff on the back. And I think that, the Zodiac Killer, awful person and all of that, but I think the design is cool. And like I said, Elizabeth and I have kind of a fascination with the macabre. And so we liked the design, we liked the effort and artwork put into it. Even if I find the person detestable, I think the artwork is cool for it. But out of respect for the people and the victims and all of that, I don't wear this outside, and I don't wear it on videos. I wear it as a personal thing because I like the artwork, not because of anything else. So yeah, but I thought it was cool. Elizabeth got one as well, but I'm not really going to talk about that unless she gives me permission to do so, because that's her thing. Now onto some other stuff. I kind of have this themed a little bit. So I also got some stuff from an antique store. This is outside of New Orleans. This is actually in town here. I got this knife. It's a Buck 76 bicentennial hand engraved knife. It's really cool. I like it a lot. The blade is a little rough around the edges, but I actually asked, let's see, I think it was All About Knives or Just Knives or Knife Stuff or whatever. It was a subreddit, and I asked him, I was like, hey, was this a special edition Buck, or was it hand engraved by somebody else? And it was hand engraved. So I think it's super cool, and it was a steal. I got it for a low price. too. So I just thought it was awesome, and I had to grab it because I like sharp things. And then also at the antique store, I got this. I think I put it in one of my thumbnails, but it's a big knife. It's a sharp knife too. It's fantasy, but it's full tang, so it's one solid piece of metal. And I like it a lot, even though I never carry it out. It's just I just like to look at it and contemplate how my characters would kind of use it. You know, just it kind of gives me inspiration whenever I am writing. Just to be like, oh, stuff that I write about is cool, but you know, some of it actually exists. So that's really awesome. And then Elizabeth got me this as a present. It's a nice leather box. Yes, yes it is. But it's also so much more. So you flip open the box. Oh, what? This is a little bag. Yes, it is. It is a little bag. And then you got a little polishing rag. A polishing rag. What for? Metal dice. Metal D&D dice. It's so ridiculously cool. I love it so much. I've been playing, you know, oh my god, it's beautiful. I've been playing D&D, doing it over Skype with Elizabeth and some of my friends. We just beat a slimy eyeball tentacle creature, which was awkward but also fun. So that was cool. And I've been rolling these dice. Don't roll them on tables if you get some yourself. I don't know where she got them, and I don't really much care. I just know that they're cool, and I'm glad that she got them for me. But if you do get metal dice, roll them in a box, not on tables, because it can scratch the wood, the glass, and the dice itself. So roll it in a cardboard box of another game if you have it. And speaking of games, I got I got a bunch of video games. I got Persona 5. I got, I think, not Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy Worlds. I got it because it looked cute, and I figured Elizabeth would play it. I got The Walking Dead Season 3, the Telltale game series. I got Dead Cells, and then I got some stuff off the PlayStation Store that was free, like Destiny 2 and the like. So anyway, I got some cool stuff, and I'm not really going to talk about those video games just because I've been playing them. But I got this cool board game called Kaido. I played it whenever I lived in Oregon. You guys might remember me living in Oregon and recording videos there. But I got this whenever I was I played this whenever I was in Oregon at the library, because that library was awesome. And this game, Kaido, is about having the best vacation you possibly can. It's a very relaxing game. You stop at inns, you paint artwork, you have good food, you buy little like trinkets and stuff. And since I was on vacation at the time, I felt it pretty apt. It's a very relaxing game. My family likes it, which is good, and it has just super cute artwork. And I highly recommend it to any writers currently dealing with lots of stress. Buy this game, play it with some friends, family, significant other. Put on some relaxing music and just go to town on that relaxation, boy. And then slightly differently, I got Dungeon Master's tiles. Ooh, you can hear them shaking around in there. I got dungeon tiles, not for D&D, but because I'm creating a game and I'm needing to play test it. So I got Dungeon Master tiles, which are realistic looking tiles mimicking, well, this one is the city, and then I also got 2 city, so I can make big sewers, and then I got the wilderness as well. I was going to get the dungeon one, but I didn't. So I got 2 city tiles and a wilderness one, so that way I can play test the game that I'm making right now, and I'll tell you guys more about that next week, if I feel up to it. So beyond that, I got a few books and magazines, and then I'll go on to everything else. So first of all, I got a Whole30 cookbook. Whole30 is just like whole meats and fruits and vegetables and all that. And I really like it because I do my best to eat healthy, and even though I don't always eat healthy, as attested by the bag of Fritos in my lunchbox right now, left over from a friend's house, I still do my best, and this one really helps me with that. It's great, and I like it a lot. Then I got some other cooking magazines actually. I got the Paleo 50 Summer Recipes, so it has a lot of just really delicious stuff in there that I enjoy, and has been really helpful and instrumental in making some of the desserts. Then I got this Paleo magazine, which is all about other different foods and desserts and all that, and just has some extra articles in it that I really want to do. I just haven't read this one yet. I read the entire Summer Recipes one because it was summer at the time. Then I have unread magazines. I have Time, The Science of Creativity, which I am just really interested in reading. I got Newsweek's focusing on J.R.R. Tolkien. And then I got The Science of Genius by National Geographic, and I'll be reading those soon. I just got a bunch of other books that I have to be reading now instead, so these magazines are kind of going to be light reading later. And then I also got, I have this shipped to me every, I think it's monthly or whatever. It's Concealed Carry magazine, because my family has firearms, and I feel like if we're going to have firearms, then I should know about them and read reviews on other things, as well as know some of the laws going around the country about them. And also, I have a lot of friends who are on the more negative side of the gun control debate, promoting for stricter gun laws, and so I like to have contrasting opinions just to kind of form my own in there. But anyway, just a cool thing, you know. And if I'm gonna write about, you know, like firearms in my books, it helps to have a resource right there, besides having to scroll through, like, you know, Reddit and all the stuff on the internet. Right now, I'm reading the Mammoth Book of Cthulhu, which is expanded stories about the expanded Lovecraftian mythos. I love it a lot. It's really cool. I think I'm only 140 pages in right now, but there is some really cool stories in there. It starts out kind of slow, because it's a collection of short stories, but each person's style is differently. And right now I'm reading Clutch by Laird Barron, or Lard Barron, I don't know. It's really cool. It's written really well. I wish there was an entire book dedicated to that short story particularly. Then I talked about 100 Deadly Skills and all of your rectal repositories that you're going to need to have. I also got the illustrated Art of Manliness. It's a very handy book, regardless of gender. I will probably have all of my kids read it, regardless of their sex. And it does stuff like how to fell a tree, split firewood, perform the fireman's carry, roll up your shirt sleeves, how to take care of your shoes, how to break down a door, how you have tie knots, how to pick a lock, how to do a deadlift, develop situational awareness, how to do active shooter triage, how to change a diaper, skip a stone, end a conversation, dress for a job interview, give a handshake, you know, just a bunch of stuff that everybody's like, oh, I probably know how to do that, but do you though? So I got it. I like the Art of Manliness website a lot, actually, because even though it's, you know, Art of Manliness, it's for anybody who reads it. So I thought it was really cool. Then I got Skullduggery Pleasant. I read this book a long time ago, and I did it for book club. I really wanted to read it again, and it's just as funny as I remember. I breezed through this in like a day. So it's funny. I love it. Frank Bedore's The Looking Glass Wars was a huge inspiration for Legendland, originally, and really helped give me an idea of what I wanted to do with my universe, and it continues to serve as an inspiration for me, even if I've outgrown the literature and the themes in it a little bit. It was still a good read, if a little less exciting than I remember and a little more basic. Mortal Engines has a movie coming out about it. The book I liked. It was a very conflicting read for me, because on one hand it reads like a children's novel, and then on the other hand people just start like shooting, and there's graphic depictions of like blood in the water and gore and like violent acts of extremely violent acts. But then at other times it's like, oh, pure children's book, no swearing, blah blah blah, Christian channel. So it's really it has some dichotomy in it that I didn't really understand, but I ended up liking it. It's a very interesting concept, super great. The main character, Tom, he's kind of boring and kind of useless, but he still never really fully agrees with the people that he's supposed to be helping, because their ideologies are directly opposite of the ideologies he fostered since he grew up in like the moving cities, and people who don't want the moving cities to be around anymore, he's like, hey, that's everything I believe in, you can't destroy them. So even though he helps these people because they are good people, and the people he grew up around are not good people, he still doesn't firmly believe in their ideologies until maybe the very end, and then it's kind of half-heartedly strewn together there. But it was ultimately really good, a little simplistic, but I liked it. Leviathan by Scott Westerfield, I cannot recommend enough. So good. I want to read the second book, Behemoth. I just haven't yet. It has really cool pictures in it. Aside from like anything else, it does have really cool pictures in it. which is like how the Looking Glass Wars is as well. I will say that, like, even though the pictures didn't completely draw me in at first, I grew to love them by the very end, and I'm so glad they're in here because it kind of brings the whole world together. Leviathan is very interesting. It's set in World War One with English and Allied Darwinists who use like evolved accretions as their war beasts and as their beasts of burden and all of that, and then you have the Austro-Hungarian Empire who uses mechs. And it's really cool because I like giant dinosaurs and giant robots and all that. So it's great. It's split between two characters, the girl in the British Navy and who goes in drag so that way she can join the Navy because it's World War One, and then the Austro-Hungarian prince who I don't remember his name. I think it's something like Alex, but a little differently. The Austro-Hungarian prince, in my opinion, is more interesting because he has more character development going on. He's betrayed. He has to deal with like who's my ally, who isn't. And he's just on the run, and the stakes for him are higher. And then there's the girl. I don't remember her name, but she's cool and she's spunky. But her thing is like, I'm a girl in the Navy. I have lots of fire. And then it's like, oh, and then that just continues. She kind of just stays the same the whole book, but she's kind of a relief from the melodramatic internal suffering of the Austro-Hungarian prince. And then there was Ready Player One, which I did enjoy. I have a lot of things to say about it that I'm not going to because this is not a book review channel. So anyway, I did like Ready Player One. I got a lot of the references for the 80s nostalgia thing. It just could have been better, and I'm sad that it wasn't, but also I'm kind of glad because that means we have room for improvement. So yeah, anyway, Ernest Cline did a good job with what he had, but I figured he probably could have done more, especially with all the hype surrounding the movie, which I have not seen yet and probably will not. Then I got A Darker Shade of Magic, it's awesome. It's so great, by V.E. Schwab. It's really good. The guy, Kel, he is a smuggler. So that's actually a bad way to start it off. There are multiple Londons. There is Red London, which has lots of magic, and these are layered in alternate dimensions. So it's like, imagine pages in a book, and you have Red London, then you have Grey London, our London, set in the 19th century with no magic. Then you have White London, which magic is receding from, and it's kind of a cutthroat world. And then you have Black London, which nobody talks about, and it's hinted that magic kind of took control of its populace, and they had to shut all the portals to keep it. So now there are only a few people who can travel between the Londons, and Kel is one of them. Kel sends messages for the royal family and keeps in contact with the other monarchies and the other Londons, and helps facilitate communications so that way everybody can kind of know what's going on. Additionally, since he is adopted into the royal family and he's not actually by blood one of them, he's a smuggler as well because it helps him feel validated, I guess. But anyway, he's kind of like a magic Han Solo. He gets the crap beat out of him a lot. He always loses, like, everything he does. And it stopped being endearing after a little while and just started being pathetic. But I think that gives him room to grow in the future series. Plus, it's nice to see a character that loses all of the time, because you truly do feel like his plight is kind of hopeless as he struggles against stuff. Part of his struggle is his own internal demons, and part of his struggle is external, being beat up. And he travels with a girl from Grey London who gets obsessed with magic and stuff. And she kills people like a ridiculous amount. Just like, oh, hey, you're in my way, bang, you're dead. So she's cool, and she has a lot of character development, and she's just really, really awesome. But the main character, Kel, he's kind of a wuss. But it's a little endearing, to be honest. And then Six of Crows, I've ranted about this a lot, but it's so good. It's such a good book. It's character development done right. There's a lot of critiques I have for it, but a lot more positive things I have to say. Overall, it's just phenomenal. It's like, I don't know, urban fantasy, Ocean's 11. It has really inspired me for Tale of the Nameless God, and how their dynamic works, how dialogue goes, how character development is, and how to do like a full cast of a character as well, because she has a lot of characters in here. She has a very full cast, and you feel like each one is developed pretty well. I feel like some characters could be condensed into one, and there's not a need for so many, but it still is done well for what she has to work with. And then there's Battle Royale, which is kind of a monster of a book, but it is super good. It's Japanese Hunger Games, basically. It came out in 1999 or 2000-ish. 42 kids, 21 boys, 21 girls, are picked up by the government, dropped on an island, given guns and knives and all that, and said one of you gets to leave. However, unlike Hunger Games, it's rated R. It is so good, so violent. There's graphic depictions of eyes exploding and just like so much gore. But then there's a lot of like philosophical talks about government, about morality, about psychology, and explores a lot of interesting themes. And I think the main appeal is that it does it in a very simple way, because the guy, the author, even though he went to college for writing and art, I believe, he still I guess maybe it's the translation, I'm not sure, but it's written very simply, so it has a broad appeal, because regardless of your experience in writing, you will understand everything that he's talking about, and he presents high level concepts in an easy to understand way for everybody, and I can assure you of that because I understood it, which means that most people will probably be able to. So Battle Royale, it's really good. Definitely don't let your kids read it until they're like 14 maybe, because there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of graphic violence in there, but there's a lot of moral, philosophical, and I guess government, political quandaries in there that I think everybody should kind of think about, and just think that over a little bit. And then finally there's Dune. Dune is a book I have yet to read, mostly because I'm kind of scared. I am kind of scared to read Dune because the movie is boring. I've heard it's boring. PewDiePie actually read Dune, and I like PewDiePie, so But I've heard it's kind of like space Game of Thrones, and I like Game of Thrones, but I also feel like it's going to be kind of dry. So, being in a desert. But I feel like I'm going to have to try to like this book. But I also don't want to go into it with that stereotype or that misconception. So if any of you out there have read Dune, please let me know how it is, because I've picked it up knowing that it's a classic sci-fi work and have the intense desire to read it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have to force myself through every page. So, that being said, that is the end of everything that I got. I probably got a couple more things that I might show you in the next video. I just can't remember them right now. And as for the clickbait thumbnails, I use them now because I enjoy whenever the content creators I follow on YouTube, they do clickbait thumbnails, and I get to enjoy seeing, because I trust them, I know I'm gonna like their content. I enjoy seeing how their clickbaity thumbnail joke stuff relates to their content in the video. I like seeing how that works out, and that's what I've been doing. I want people to kind of guess and be like, okay, how is this actually going to relate to what he's been doing with his stuff? So, or what he's going to be doing in the video. Like, how is this going to relate? And I always like figuring that out, because for me it's kind of like a puzzle as I see it in my feed, and I'm like, I'm not going to click that, it's dumb. Who would click on that? And then I go back and I'm like, yeah, maybe it's about this, and I click and it's about a different thing, and I feel like, oh wow, that was a neat surprise, woo, yay. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, clickbait thumbnails, and also just honestly, so hopefully people will click on them more, because clickbait. But I have been doing it because I want people to kind of guess what the content is going to be about, and hopefully it can inspire some like audience interaction as well, and just get more people on board. Plus, I have fun making them. I have fun thinking of the titles, and Elizabeth helps me with the photo editing of them sometimes, so or kind of all the time. She helps make those, and I just really enjoy collaborating with her on that, and she gets to be a part of the process as well, so it's great for that reason. Additionally, the final thing being my life update. My life update being that my room is messy. There's a lot of stuff on the floor that I will probably show you I'll probably show you in like some pictures on my social media. So I'll I'll tell you about that later across all my devices. I might add it to my Instagram story or something. But my room is messy. I know you can't tell because I purposely filmed it against like the only free wall that I have that's not filled with clutter. Yeah, I have clothes on the floor. I have a bunch of messy stuff all around. And while writers don't necessarily need to be neat all the time because they rarely leave the house, it makes me feel a little stressed knowing that everything I have is just kind of in shoveled disarray. And I would really, really like for it to be neat. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing pictures or adding to my Instagram story or maybe doing little video clips on YouTube about how my room is looking every day. And you guys get to make fun of me if I don't have a clean room. If you're like, oh wow, this looks like junk. And once I get my room clean and organized the way that I want it to, once it's kind of bare bones, I'm going to take a few pictures of my room and I'm going to turn to all of you brilliant creative types out there and say, hey, this is my room. What would look good on here? And I'll show you some of the stuff I can use for decorations, some of the board games, video games, books, posters, all of that. And I'll be like, hey, decorate my room for me. And while this isn't necessarily writing related, it is something that I want to do because I want to know kind of all of you guys' styles on something outside of writing, because decoration and fashion is still creative, and we have to decorate scenes in our heads. We have to we have to traipse through all of like the different castles and all of the different ships and rooms and houses that we create, all of the different rooms, all of the costumes that our characters wear, and we have to have an eye for that kind of stuff, and I never really have. And so I've always turned to people around me who are good at that stuff. And since all of you are pretty great writers, I assume you're probably pretty good at like this decorative stuff as well. So anyway, I will be sharing progress updates on the cleanliness of my room and talk about maybe in my life updates how that is affecting me from a creative and work efficiency standpoint. And then after it's all cleaned, I will share pictures of the clean and barren room, and you guys will get to help me decorate it and show off and flex your creative muscles, give me ideas, and show me maybe give me an insight into what your rooms look like. Not your rooms, but like the rooms you create for your characters. You know, what would your characters' rooms look like? And I might share my stuff as well. Anyway, this has been a long video, but not as long as my last one. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching this weird video, and I hope you guys just kind of like the ranting and rambling. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe read some of the books, get back to me on the stuff that I talked about, and I'll see you guys with a video next week, possibly. So anyway, talk to you. Bye.